Something I've been thinking about in food a lot is this 3D printed food fad. Have you heard
Mm,
about this? What do
I
you think
have.
about this?
I, I think it's weird.
It's definitely weird for
I think it's
sure.
weird. Yeah. I worry about anything in food that isn't about yummy first. I think is how I want to answer that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it looks, you get these shapes and you can do cool things with it, but like, I don't know, shouldn't food just be yummy first
Some
before we
people
worry
said
about like printing it?
they couldn't distinguish the flavor. Like, they couldn't tell which was which is pretty that's pretty astonishing. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
this was a piece of Wagyu that got 3D printed that I read
right.
about specifically.
I haven't
I don't
seen that
know.
one specifically.
I see it. I kind of see it being the future, good or bad. Whether I agree with it or not, I definitely see companies seeing that technology and going, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to use this," and McDonald's is going to have a 3D printed burger in no time if they can. In my opinion, why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
If
of
the
course.
cost wise,
If it becomes cheaper than
yeah,
regular,
they would. They would. Again,
I mean,
whether or
it's
not I agree
almost
with
3D
it.
printed as it is.
Yeah. Let's be
And
real.
I love a good McDonald's.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not.
absolutely, absolutely, of course. And which is coincidentally something I've been thinking about a lot lately is like this battle. It's almost like the drug war. There's also like the food war of
Mhm.
like trying to eat healthy. Everyone's trying to eat healthy. Every business is trying to be healthier and healthier, but at the same time, it's a business, right? So you sometimes have to make decisions that are cost effective, but maybe not, stomach effective for the customer, if you will. And I've been thinking a lot about really how do we solve that problem? How are we really going to get to the heart of Americans and eating? And I've been thinking
Mhm.
just like fast food and processed food is the way to do it, but in a healthier way, right? We got to get these big fast food brands on board, and even processed food
Yeah.
has to become healthier. I know that sounds weird to say, but I almost feel like the way to get most people to eat healthy is they're not even going to know they're doing it,
Yeah. 100%. I
you know?
agree with that 100%. I think it's tricky though. I look at the wave of, impossible burgers as like a talking point here because not in the 3D printed sense, but in a way where it's sort of uh, a a replacement for a limited resource, right? Like we understand that there's some real serious flaws in the industrialized meat industry, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not talking about this in the keto, like I'm not getting into that discussion. We could have a whole argument about whether beef is healthy or not, because how I feel about that is irrelevant. But when you look at a burger that we make, let's say you and I sitting in the backyard, we throw a burger on the grill, there's one ingredient, beef, maybe
Yeah.
salt, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You look at the ingredient list on an impossible burger and it's like a paragraph.
Yeah.
And so, and there's like refined oils and, and sure, there's beets and other things, but I think it's interesting to sort of step back and ask, like, which one is healthier and what does that really mean? Um, is something that is kind of produced and manufactured in a processed way, because it is processed. Like an impossible burger is a processed food.
Yeah.
And it uses processed oils and things like that are pretty gross. Like if you actually look at how vegetable oil is made, it's a little scary, but it's also scary how like beef is made right now. So this like constant battle, I don't think is going to end anytime soon between like how we feed the masses and what does healthy really even mean
Yeah.
anymore, unless you're going out there and like growing the cattle yourself. I'm not really sure to how even to tell anymore. Like what's better, what's not. Organic doesn't really mean anything anymore. There's
Yeah.
so much gray area in how
Yeah.
farmers treat organic vegetables. To me, it's become again just a way to charge more. In theory, yeah, of course I want my vegetables not to have pesticides on them, but that's not even really what's happening. They can still use pesticides.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I think it's really tricky, and I think for me that's why I've been looking at food a lot lately, and this is nothing I'm inventing, but thinking about more like local and local farm grown farm using the farmers market as much as possible, and like just trying to get a little bit closer to the food. If I can get some beef from at least this area, I might feel a little bit better about it than the tube from, that was sent here from out of state or whatever. Um, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I went
Yeah.
off on a tangent, but do you know what
No,
I mean
no.
about like sort of like, is the impossible burger the future, in the same question as you asked about the 3D printing? Like, is lab grown meat or meat alternatives actually healthier? Um, and on what metric? Like it's so weird. This whole industry is very confusing right now.
I mean, absolutely. No, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's just when you throw profit in, right? It makes everyone's. It's hard to know if what their like goals were, right, as a business, where their heads really at, right? Are they trying to get the healthiest option available for people? Or are they just trying to find a cheaper, easier way to come up with something
Right.
that looks like meat for you to eat? And just like a lot of things, they start with good intentions, and
Mhm.
money gets involved, and that can change. And again, like you said, it's almost like the drug war, right? It's this thing that's just never going to go away. This battle is never going to go away.